Hey guys, good morning.
Morning.
It's morning for us, so we're saying good morning to you. We are having our morning revelations popping up to us here, and we're just thinking about what is it that we had a question approached to us the other day. Why does the ego always have this sense or need to be validated? And a lot of times we actually think it's us, but really it's our small self. And let's take it another notch deeper. It's actually the program and pattern within you that has been taught the separation script. And that's what it came to me this morning. I'm like, wow, this whole thing, it's a separation script of a program or a pattern that we watch growing up through our parents. And then the world is constantly voicing and modeling the separation script to us, where we're one in God, one with Him. We already have, everything has been given to us, and we're already in. I love it when Justin Abraham always says, we're innies. We're innies, not outies, we're innies. And so it's just this script that's looping, and we have the choice, if that's what we want to experience, to keep reaching and having this separation thinking of, I need to be validated. I need to validate myself with things, food, stuff. I need people's validation to tell me I'm doing a good job. I need God to tell me I'm doing a good job. It's all these things. And so because we're such creative beings and life mirrors whatever we choose to believe, then we can keep experiencing that if we want. Or we can wake up out of it like the Matrix, so to speak, and say, wait a minute, I'm not separate, I'm not rejected, I'm already in. Everything is already mine. I just have to choose to align with it and change the script and start believing, responding, and acting as though I already have everything, and receiving the validation that's already there. But if we keep choosing, no, I'm going to choose to experience the separation that I'm creating through this pattern of belief, then that's what we'll keep getting. I mean, if you really think about it, that's what's underneath it all, is this separation script we keep living out, that we keep choosing.
Yeah, and it's all beliefs. So what do we believe about ourselves? What does our small self, the ego, believe? And this is where we rewrite the script. And we have the free will to do that. No one else can tell us. They can share, but then it's up to us to receive our own script, our own shift in beliefs. See, we've been programmed so much in our youth by religion, you name it, and it causes us. See, everybody lives in this separate mindset, because we came out of the mom's womb when we were one. Then it's like we forget who we were, and then we get a script that's being written by our parents,
That was passed down,
or a teacher, or person of authority, friends, all of that. They start writing this new script, and it's like, wait a minute. Most of the time, it doesn't even align with who we really know ourselves to be. And then this separation mindset happens, and we're like, God's up there somewhere, away from me. My small self is away from my real self.
Because I don't feel God.
I don't feel whole, or I don't feel God's presence.
But we're
and it's a lie. It's a complete illusionary lie, because we're focused on that old script, the belief system that says, wait a minute, I feel bad, so therefore I'm separate. Or I've sinned, so therefore I'm separate. It's like we've always said this analogy, but it's funny, but it's true. It's not so funny. Christ or God, all in one, does not jump out of us and run down to the end of the street and turn his head away because we've blown it some way, and then jump back into us when we say, I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. You can no longer separate. You can no more separate food coloring from water once you put the food coloring in the water. It's a little challenging to separate the two. So look at it like trying to separate water itself, the very substance of water. You can't. You can't.
Yeah. So if that's the case, and the truth is, you are not separated from God. You're not separated from Christ. You're not separated from heaven. You're not separated from any of this stuff. So it comes down to our thoughts, because thoughts are the language of the body, right? Your thoughts become your feelings. Thoughts create things. And so that's why, Christ said, take every thought captive. And it becomes, it's so important for us. It's the old saying, whatever you look for, you'll find. So if your thoughts are already telling you, I'm separate, God's mad at me, he's not talking to me, I'm separate, I need to go now reach in my own strength to a different tree of knowledge of good and evil for my own success or my own validation or things like that. And it's just, again, it's thoughts become things. It's whatever you look for, you'll find. Where the truth is, you're not separated. So if we can start shifting our focus, take a moment to still yourself and feel what it feels like to be one, and allow that old program to just purge. You're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel it squirming and coming up and rebutting you, because the hard drive, like we keep talking about, the subconscious, does not support change. When you have been in a habit of rejection and a habit of needing to reach for outside sources to satisfy you, then that's what it's used to. That is on the track of sameness, where your spirit is like, no, I know something's deeper. I know there's an answer. I know there's a solution to this. I know I'm not living in the center of where I feel called to. And so, again, it starts with us stilling ourselves. It's like coming down to ground zero, right? And when we still ourselves, you come into a place of meditation, you allow this stuff to purge out, but shift your focus. You don't have to just sit there mindless, right? You want to actually start focusing on feeling, I am in him, he is in me, I am fully loved, and fully feel being embraced. So that now you're reprogramming your body to focus on what that feels like. And you can say, well, I don't know what that feels like. Well, all you got to do is open up your heart, drop back into your heart and receive. It's not up to you to try to manufacture what that feels like. It's when you open your heart back up to the Lord, back up to Papa God, and just let him shower you with his love, you'll start having amazing encounters. Oftentimes when I do that, I feel like this liquid gold honey is just pouring from my head all the way through me. And it just feels amazing. So you start experiencing it. Oh, hold on, guys. Just trying to turn this off.
So the reason, going back to the ego needing to be validated, this question that we began with, I think really it's a matter of being self-aware first enough to ask that question, which is great.
Yeah.
That there's a self-awareness to say, okay, I realize that I do have an ego, and the ego is trying to tell the real me something. Oftentimes people just think that that's them, right? The small self, that's the genuine spirit of them. See, we're 100% spirit, and we happen to hold a soul and body realm. Okay, so but the real us is 100% spirit. We're energy, and we're in matter called a body.
We're in our earth suit.
An earth suit, yeah. It's matter. It's material. It's
density.
So just being self-aware of that, and then just saying, okay, why is my ego wanting to be seen or validated? Then you go, okay, the real me, the whole me, the healthy me, the complete me, my spirit, is going to allow it to be seen. And look at it this way. We've used this analogy, and others have too, where the small self is your little child inside of you that was not seen, that was hurt, abused, abandoned, traumatized, whatever, at whatever age, as a young person, at somewhere along the line, then if it's squawking or screaming or yelling or throwing a fit, it wants to be loved, it wants to be heard, it wants to be seen. So to picture it as like a little child in your back seat that's just wanting attention. That's kicking the back of your seat, it's yelling, it's screaming, it's saying, I want this, I want that. Well, what do you do with that child? If you continue to abuse that child, because it already endured abuse, then you're going to get more of the same. It's like the wounded dog. Do you go around and kick the dog some more if it's wounded? No, you nurture the dog. You nurture the child. Now, it doesn't mean that when the child's kicking the back of your seat, you just let that happen. But the point is that you see the child. That's why the child's kicking the back of your seat. You're trying to ignore the wounding. You're trying to ignore the pain.
And that
you can't do
work
it
either, right?
No, you need to integrate it
and calm.
by seeing it. Yes, by seeing it, hearing it, loving it, and saying it's okay to feel this way.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
When that happens, guess what's going to happen? Integration starts taking place.
Mm-hmm.
You start healing that inner child. Start healing that ego.
Yeah, the judgments break, because a lot of times we're reacting because we've made judgments on ourselves and we've put expectations on ourselves, or we've received the judgments of the world saying, you should have better, you should have more, you should have all this stuff, right? And so we're throwing these tantrums internally, or fear is kicking up like crazy. And when we just stop and say, you know what, you're allowed to feel this way. You're allowed. It breaks up. You're allowed to have judgments about yourself, but you don't need them. You're okay. You're okay, you know?
Yeah, and I'm just reminded of this pretty well-known pastor that is on the west coast of the United States. He was sitting there in a video that I happened to scroll by, and you know how you have the subtitles, and I could just tell he's really berating, like he was really shaming in this video, and then the subtitles come by and it goes, you're not a man if you don't work. And it was all about men not working, okay? Well, that approach on any subject, but especially with men, doesn't work when you give them more shame. Find out what is, first of all, the old programming will say, because all these young people or all these men or whoever aren't working today, that there's something wrong with them. No, what if it's the system that's broken?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a major shift going on in the way we look at work.
Exactly.
We're rethinking what work actually is and what it means to us in a post-COVID world. So perhaps the question would be better asked, instead of berating, ask the question, why are some people not working? And then genuinely be interested in the answer.
Right.
Because the answer coming may, in fact, deprogram your programming.
Exactly.
And it very well be a God thing.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think that just because somebody is not working that it applies to the whole.
Right.
Or that everyone's lazy or nobody wants to work anymore. Like I said, globally, this whole definition of work has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at it more, what is creativity in my life versus hard work?
Yeah, because we're designed for love, right? We're designed for peace and joy, and the whole culture of heaven, heaven on earth, right? That's what we're really designed to live, to express. And so when you have a broken system that's built out of the small self of egos and validations and all this kind of stuff, and you have many waking up out of that, to that prior generation or belief system, it looks like, like John was saying, they don't want to work. But those that are waking up, it's like, there's got to be a better way to do this.
Exactly.
Little do people know, they've started their own online businesses that are super successful. And to the outside, it looks like they're just at home being on the computer all day long. No, they're making more money than they ever did working their 9 to 5.
Yeah,
with freedom.
It's funny you brought that up, because I just remembered a story I read about this nursing student. Okay, she's on the national news now in an article, and it was so fascinating that I clicked on it. What she did was she was cramming and jamming for her final exams during COVID, and she was staring at the wall and teaching herself against the wall because she had nobody to really, because it's COVID, everybody's on lockdown. So she's like, the wall was like her partner in studying for the exam.
Mm-hmm.
So she took all these notes, and then she posted these videos of her doing this to the wall and her notes. So people wanted her notes. So she starts selling her notes online for the exams. She became a millionaire.
Wow.
In 2 years. She sold to over $2 million worth of her notes online.
And look at this, you guys. And she didn't, look at this, what she overrode. She could easily shut all that down, said, nobody's going to want this. I need to just go back to the same 9 to 5. That's what people want. It's like, no, she stepped out in simplicity, followed the leads and prompts within her, and posted them. Right? So you just don't know. This is why it's so important to follow those leads and prompts of stepping outside of the box.
Even when your ego's needing validation.
Mm-hmm.
Because she could have shut down. Like you said, the ego could have said, no, I need validation.
Yeah,
and
nobody's going to want these.
Nobody's going to want these.
These are my notes. Why would they care? They have their own notes, And
yeah, but see how important it is to override the screaming child.
And your reason and logic.
And not abuse it, but send love to it while you're taking steps forward. Now, what does a mom do with a little toddler that's screaming and they pull into the store? First of all, she's going to say, okay, we need to, what's going on? Why do you keep kicking my chair? Then you take that child, as you're talking to that child, loving on that child or whatever, then you take that child and you walk forward with him to the store, all the way saying, listen, I love you. We're going to, whatever you have to say to love on that child, to get the validation that ego needs, right, so to speak. But you're moving forward is the point. You're moving forward. You're not just going to sit in the car in the parking lot and listen to the screaming child and let the child dictate to you where you're going to go or where you're not going to go, right? You're going to keep moving forward. And that's just it. So many people let these old programs stop them from taking the next step because they're like, when I get over this, I will. Mm-hmm. Or when I get healed, I will.
So there you go again. This whole separation beliefs, the separation script.
Yeah.
It's got to be this separation deal until I can get into this, instead of really the awakened state of all I have, all I need is already available. I just have to start reprogramming by receiving it and believing it. Receive and believe, and you shall have. Receive and believe, because life is mirroring you. It really is. It's amazing how this works. And so, we just want to encourage you. We're standing with you.
Yeah.
And to just make today a new day of, I'm going to start practicing
That's
this.
Right.
And practicing receiving and catching myself and changing the script, because just like they've proved in science, it's 100% natural download from age 1 to 7. But after that, in order to change that hard drive, you have to start having habits, repetition to change the script. And so, how bad do you want it, right? You want to keep going around the same mountain, or are you going to choose to take a new path of understanding and take every thought captive? We're right there with you guys. We're doing that all the time too, but wow, what an amazing difference, and there's so much grace, as we ascend here into 5D living, right? The 5D dimension of life is all about heaven culture and receiving, and it's not hard and laborious anymore. It's not this black and white, rigid right and wrong. It's just so much more full of love and grace and receiving what's already yours.
It's because we're being integrated into oneness. Mm-hmm. We really are. We're ascending, and we're like, okay, I get it now. I am not separate, even though the lie told me that made me
the
believe
great
I was.
lie.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the illusionary thing is dissipating, and we're coming into a full-blown reality of the truth that we are
Waking up out of the
one.
matrix.
We are. All right. Well, take care, and aloha from sunny Hawaii.
Yes. Take care, you guys. Have a great day. Bye.